Hi, Aykan here from Vochlea Music, and today we're going to be deconstructing a couple sections from Billie Eilish's song You Should See Me in a Crown from the 2019 album When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? We're going to be looking at lots of different ways to use Dubler with an Arpeggiator and with different Dubler profiles, and we're also going to sound design an 808 patch and use Dubler with pitch bend, so lots to check out. Hope you enjoy. So first we're going to check out the drums, and for that we've mapped only 3 sounds. The kick, the snare, and the hat. So the chorus of the song actually has faster hats, but we're going to use an arpeggiator to recreate that. So let's just record in the kick and the snare first. The BPM is 150. I'm going to quickly quantize that. The kit is This Night Kit by Ableton, by the way. For the hat, we're going to use an arpeggiator. So let me show you how that sounds. Normally the hat is just but when we turn on the arpeggiator, this is how it sounds. So the way to get this to work is without this note length tool here, the arpeggiator itself wouldn't actually launch the hat. Let's try that out. Yeah, we're not getting a sound because for arpeggiators to work, you need a note to be held down. And since we can't hold down our quick transient sound, we use the note length set to about 1 second or however much you would like to keep that note pressed so that the arpeggiator can work. And we also added a velocity to give it variation to make it sound like a live drummer. So here's how that would sound without the velocity. A bit too robotic with the velocity. So I'm going to just play this in the beat now. Make sure overdub is on here with this plus. I think most of those are on. I'm just going to quantize just in case. Now for the 808. So since our kick was already mapped to C1, we don't need to map it again for this second subsample, which is a F-sharp sample we just dragged into the drum rack. And I think we repitched it to the track's key of G-sharp minor. The bass patch is pretty straightforward. It just has some sidechain compression so that it ducks when the kick hits. It has a dynamic tube distortion, which without the filter would sound pretty harsh actually. But the filter keeps that in check a bit. Then there's a chorus effect. Just adding some general width to the sound, some EQ, and then OTT, a preset of Ableton's multi-band dynamics that lots of people use. There are even plugin versions of this for non-Ableton users. So with and without that. Yeah, it can make or break a part, and dialing down the amount is always a good idea to keep it in check. So let's play this part in now. Also going to give that a quantize. You don't necessarily have to quantize. Now for something slightly trickier. We're going to shut the triggers because we're done with the drums for this section, and I'll go to our controls section. And as you can see, we've only allowed 3 notes, the software to detect 3 notes, because when the software is limited to less notes, it more accurately tracks the MIDI, the pitch information you're providing it. So when you're playing more complicated parts with pitch bends and other parts, it's a good idea to use fewer notes. First, we're going to play a bend part. See, we've set the pitch bend range to ±2 semitones. Always make sure that the synth's pitch bend is set to the same amount. See, in both layers of this patch, the pitch bend is set to 2 to match Dubler settings. This is really important, and it gives you much more freedom when you're trying to pitch bend. Well, let's give this one a shot now. I think we had a good one in there that we can use. Maybe that's too long. It up there at the end. You can edit your pitch bend after you've done it through MIDI Control C. Yeah, I messed up a bit at the end, you can see. Okay, let me copy paste this one. Now the second half of the chorus has a melody that does not require pitch bend, so I'm just going to go to my Dubler profile here, take off the pitch bend. Let's try to record this. May need a couple takes. Now we have the whole chorus finished, so we're gonna check out the verse. That again starts with a beat, so I'm gonna go back to my triggers. Quantize that quickly. So now the bass part is just a 2-note progression. For this, I'm going to switch to my second profile. Dubler allows you to have unlimited profiles, so it's always good to save a bunch of different profiles with different note combinations to make your work easier. So here's crown 2. There's only the notes G sharp and B, because the bass line is fairly simple. The second part worked out much better, so I'm just gonna quantize this and then copy it over and re-pitch it. Billie Eilish's producer Phineas always adds these more ominous layers to Billie's voice during the productions. So we used Ableton's Azimuth Art Plux with an arpeggiator to recreate this kind of sound. But first I'm going to switch my profile to the third one. Again, I've limited the notes in the scale to 5. Usually in a scale there are 7 notes, just to make it easier for the software to detect the pitch of my voice. So this is how that patch sounds. Just gonna copy these first 2 over. Now for the breakdown, there's an ARP part. We've set up a chord device here. So I actually mapped this to the keyboard in Ableton with Command K. You can map buttons, any parameter, to a keyboard, so you can activate your devices with a keyboard. So I've mapped the V to turn on the chord device, and then I've programmed 2 different chord shapes in here using Ableton's chord MIDI device. So this is how one sounds. And then when I press C, I switch to the other chord. Just gonna get rid of those ghost notes. We're gonna add a sub part using the bass. So I'm gonna go back to my bass profile. Just gonna capture that. The breakdown has a sort of EDM style boop, 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 kind of kick riser. So to emulate that, we're going to use the arpeggiator trick we used in the hat. So with the J button, I've mapped using Command K in Ableton. I've mapped the J button to the kicks arpeggiator, and again, we're using the note length here to be able to make sure that the note is held down for the arpeggiator to work. Here's how the kick sounds with that effect. So that could just keep going. So if you, whenever you want it to stop, you just quickly hit your J key. So let me try that. Cool for jamming to use this note length and arpeggiator as well. Can get you to some creative spaces. Here's the recreation with all of the elements. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and please let us know in the comments if there are any other songs you'd like us to deconstruct for next time. To find out more about the Dubler Studio Kit, head to vochlea.com and hit subscribe for more Dubler videos. See you next time.